Okay, so let's continue with today's topic. Okay, so so far we have gone through the fundamentals of neuro-linguistic programming. So in the previous class, we went through the 16 NLP presuppositions. All right. So now we'll be talking about NLP techniques. So these techniques, I think I have like few techniques here. Again, these are not exclusive. Okay. So there are other techniques besides the ones that we will be talking in our course. Okay. As I mentioned, NLP is itself a vast like a field. Okay. So for those of you who may be interested in it, they can research in it, and especially for those who, let's say, who wants to pursue their maybe in a career in the field of therapist, okay, psychotherapist, this may be useful, or maybe like as a coach. Okay, so definitely if you are thinking about like working as a manager, definitely this NLP, having information about this neuro-linguistic programming will be helpful to you. Regardless, for anyone, it will be helpful. Okay, you can use it in your own like personal life as well. All right. Okay, so the first technique we're going to talk about is called chunking. Okay, so basically we have this conscious mind. Okay, so you are right now in your conscious mind, and we also have what is called subconscious mind. Okay, so this basically everything that has to do with your belief, your emotions, the habits that you form. Okay, your long-term memory, it all like comprises of your subconscious mind. Okay, it's like a universe inside you. Okay, so you see through your conscious mind. Okay, but there is like a big portion inside you. You can see the figure there of an iceberg. Okay, you can only see like a small like a portion, like a tip of a iceberg. Okay, which is like a conscious mind, but there is like unseen, like a hidden part of you. Okay, that gives you your personality, your identity, that is hidden beneath. Okay, that's your subconscious mind. So the objective of chunking is basically to bring back, to bring out, okay, what is hidden inside your subconscious mind. Okay, so sometimes people may not be sure about what they do, what they want to do with their life. Okay, for example, you may hear like students who may be having like a hard time about choosing their career. Okay, or maybe like choosing the right like course or major to pursue in their, let's say, bachelor's program and so on. Okay, so maybe they can use this technique to basically have a better focus on what they want to achieve or what they want to do in their life. Mhm. Okay, so basically this chunking is used, this technique is used by any like a therapist or those who are coaching to help their clients. Okay, so the clients may be in the state of confusion or ambiguity, or maybe want to have like a better focus in their life. Okay, so by asking questions to their clients, which is during the like a counseling session, the therapist would ask like all this type of questions and like elicit like responses based on the questions, and based on the client responses. Okay, the therapist can then draw out like a plan for that particular person. Okay, so basically from the state of ambiguity, from the state of confusion, you want basically either yourself, help yourself, or others come to the state of decision. Okay, so from indecision to decision by exploring your subconscious mind. All right, so that's basically what the meaning of chunking here is. Okay, so let's look at the process of chunking. Okay, so basically the first step is brainstorming. So for those of you who are doing who are practicing chunking by yourself. Okay, so as I mentioned, chunking, you can use it to help others, but let's look at what you can do when you're doing it yourself. Okay, so the first is to basically like capture your ideas, thoughts, anything, okay, that's going on in your mind. Okay, so that step is called brainstorming. All right, so let's say you want to pursue your career. Okay, so you'll be kind of like asking yourself or observing your like thoughts that come to your mind with related to that. Okay, related to, let's say, your career. All right, so you may be interested in, let's say, information technology, and you have like so many thoughts coming into your mind, or you have like all these ideas, okay, and all these things that you want to do. Okay, you spend like maybe like hours thinking about, let's say, something. It could be, let's say, coding in your case. I don't know, you guys personally, to answer for you. Just take an example. Okay, so you spend, but still you're not clear about what you want to do. So you spend some time in brainstorming, like capturing your thoughts, ideas, and so on. Okay, so let's say you spend, let's say, 5 minutes in that. Okay, so after 5 minutes, you look at the list. Okay, let's say you got like 30 or 40 things on the list. Okay, so you look at all the things that came out from from your mind. Okay, from what was initially in the state of confusion or indecision. Okay, so now you look at the list, the items individually. Okay, and you try to find what is the common theme in the item list. Okay, so let's say you want to let's say you are interested in like a like a working in like computing field. Okay, that's something that's a vague thing, but by going through this brainstorm, by capturing your thoughts and ideas and so on. Okay, so now you're looking at individual list, individual thoughts and ideas. Okay, so you came to, after looking at it, you had like a good picture now. Okay, the picture is now clearer. Okay, that you want to, let's say, do something about, let's say, coding, a programming or something. All right, so I don't know what it would be in your case. Okay, it could be something totally different as well. All right, when you ask yourself, when you try to like get what is in your subconscious mind. All right, so let's say through that now, with that information, after getting the common theme about what you want to do or what you want to accomplish in this case in your life, now you have a better focus of what you want to do. Okay, so now before you were in the state of indecision, now you have a better outlook that you can focus to accomplish that. Okay, so when we have a better like outlook or better focus in life, we become more effective. It's easy for us to accomplish our goals. Okay, so for example, you can take the example of light. Okay, so you may have used like a torch light. Okay, so torchlight kind of disperses light, right, to like a greater area, right? The same thing now, take the example of laser. Okay, so laser is more focused. Okay, it's not like dispersing away, right? It's very focused, and these days lasers, beams, they're used for different applications, right? So you want to be more focused in life. Okay, so in the state of indecision, maybe you want to like write down your thoughts. Okay, maybe sit down for like 10 minutes only. All right, so when you are kind of like a feeling down and bogged down by indecision or confusion, sit down for 10 minutes and do this exercise. Okay, list out your thoughts, ideas that come to your mind, and try to see what are the common, like a theme, the themes and the thoughts and ideas that you can recognize. If you can recognize, then that will give you a better focus in what you want to accomplish or what you want to do with your life. Right? So that's chunking basically. All right, so let's look at some example here. Okay, so let's say a person, okay, so sits down and writes down his or her thoughts. All right, for example, here that person, desires, or I'm going to read this thoughts. Okay, this is just an example. So I want to have a nice car. That was one thought. Okay, I want to be successful. That's also another thought. Okay, as the person is sitting down during the brainstorming phase, so these are the thoughts that came into that person's mind. Okay, so another thought is I want to travel around the world. I want to learn to play guitar. I want to impress my friends and family. Okay, I want to be rich. So these are some of the thoughts that came into that person's mind. So after writing down the thoughts, okay, so these are your thoughts, maybe like hundreds of thoughts that may come within the span of, let's say, 5 minutes. All right, I'm just saying 5 minutes. It can be, let's say, 4 minutes, 3 minutes. Okay, so with that, the person kind of sits down and looks at what's common in those thoughts. Okay, so the common thing is it's like musically successful life. Okay, so now what he want to do? Okay, what does he want to become? So perhaps you want to become a musical, like a famous person, like a rock star, right? So you can get a better focus by using this method called NLP method called chunking. Okay, so has anyone used this method before? Anybody? If not, that's fine. Maybe you can sit down for a little bit, okay, and use this. All right, so let's move on to the next NLP technique. Okay, so the next NLP technique is called anchoring. Okay, so basically anchoring is like creating a bookmark or anchor. Okay, you might like a the anchor would be like a when you want to dock a ship. Okay, and like a shore, right? Then you would use like an anchor to basically so that the ship would not basically sail by itself, right? So you want to like mentally create this bookmark, okay? So with the, let's say, a touch, gesture, or word, okay, to basically bring about some desired frame of mind or emotion, okay? So let's look in more detail. So basically anchoring is through the use of like either a touch, okay, it could be a gesture or sound or word, okay? You want to basically create or induce a desired frame of mind or emotion. Okay, that's what anchoring is. Okay, so for example here, okay, I've written down like few lists here. So let's say like you are normally in an anxious state. You find yourself in like an anxious state. Like maybe you have like an anxiety problem or something. So you want to basically bring about the relaxed state, okay, whenever you kind of like feel like your anxiety is going out of control. Okay, I'm just giving you an example here. So you can use the process of anchoring. Okay, so you'll have to learn. You basically your mind has to create neural network before you feel comfortable with this. All right. So an example given here. Okay. So let's say you want to basically remember it, or you want this thought of you. Let's say you had like a, you went to you went to a vacation in, let's say, Pokhara, for example. Okay, I'm just giving you an example. For you personally, it can be something different. You might have gone to vacation in, let's say, other parts of Nepal or around the world. Okay, so for you, it will be different. For example, you went on a family vacation to Pokhara, right, some time back. And that time you had like a really good time with your family. It was really relaxing and so on. So you want to recreate that state of mind whenever you want, okay, through the use of anchoring. So what you can do is you can sit relaxed, okay. So you can pinch your thumb with your index finger very lightly, okay. You don't need to like press really hard. Just gently pinch the index finger with your thumb. Okay. So now, as you pinch, okay, the two fingers, okay. So now you imagine, okay, you go to the time that you spend with your family in Pokhara. Okay, this is just an example. In your case, it could be different. All right. So maybe like rowed a boat with your family. Okay, so you can imagine that. Okay, so just a little bit. That's fine. Maybe a few seconds. Okay. So now you will disconnect. It's kind of like you will disconnect your fingers. Okay. So now you'll shake your body in a sense. Okay. So shake that thought or that imagination off of your mind. Okay. So think about something different now. Okay, so after some time, okay, what you want to do is you want to repeat that again. Okay, so now you will kind of gently pinch your thumb and index finger, and again go back to the same scene that happened before. Okay, same state of relaxed state that you were in before. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to repeat this, pinching your finger and imagining several times. Okay, it can take like several days, it can take like several weeks. Okay, until that neural network is formed in your mind, you're gonna do this. You're gonna practice this. So next time after you're done, okay, when you feel comfortable, so comfortable with, let's say, you pinching your let's say, right hand, thumb and index finger, the thought would automatically come in your mind. Okay, so next time you are about to face this anxious state, you kind of like have a intuition or feeling or inkling that you're about to go into an anxiety state. Okay, then what you can do is you can pinch your thumb with your index finger, and the thought of your vacation, your family vacation in Pokhara, will come to your mind. Okay, and you'll feel relaxed. All right, so that's what this is an example of anchoring. Okay, so for those of you who may have read about hypnosis, okay, so this is kind of similar to hypnosis. Okay, those psycho like therapists, they use hypnosis, right? But there's a major difference here. In hypnosis, those therapists will take their patient into a trance-like state, which is called hypnotic state. Okay, so when their clients are in the hypnotic state, then the therapist will kind of like explore the client's subconscious mind. Okay, right now, when we are using anchoring, okay, you're not induced into the hypnotic state. Okay, your subconscious mind is active, okay, but you are kind of like imagining something that you want to imagine. Let's say you don't want to imagine like that. Okay, you just want to feel good. Okay, so let's say next time, so let's say you want to practice, touching your like pinching your thumb with your index finger, and you just want to feel relaxed. So maybe you can practice breathing, deep breathing. Okay, as you touch your thumb with your index finger, you take a deep breath several times, maybe like 5 times, maybe 10 times. Okay, so you feel that relaxed situation without relaxed state, without thinking about anything outside. Okay, so do enough time so the next time you want to feel relaxed, you can just touch your thumb with your index finger. Okay, if either hand, that's fine. Okay, and you can feel that relaxed state. Your mind, the pathway in the brain will be activated by the sense of touch. So again, I gave you an example of the touch. Okay, touching. All right. So it can be induced through the word as well. Okay, through gestures as well. All right. It's basically repetition to induce the desired state of mind. All right. Okay. Anybody has any question about it? About anchoring? So again, repetition is the key. Okay. All right. So let's move forward. Okay. So here's some more examples here. Okay. So this may apply to some of you, may not apply to like any of you. All right. So let's look at it. So does a freshly baked roti or bread, okay, remind you of your mother's cooking? Okay. So growing up, okay, you may have like seen or smell, heard, like your mother like a cooking in your home kitchen. Okay. So every time you smell that, the smell of fresh roti, it kind of brings the memory of your mother cooking. All right, so that can happen. Okay, the smell is a very powerful sense. All right, another example is, does seeing a house decorated with oil lamps on window sills, outside window, remind of your childhood days in Deepavali? Okay, sometimes, even though like these days, like what happened like last time during this lockdown, I saw like several houses lit with like oil lamps outside. Okay, so that kind of brought like the thought of Deepavali in me. All right, so maybe like it did the same effect on you as well. Okay, seeing houses, decorated like that. Okay, another example is here. So most of us are familiar with this Malasri the dhun, right, tune being played in the sign. So even if it's not like the sign, if that play music is played now, okay, that can like induce the memory of your dasai holiday in your mind. Okay, so that's the example of anchoring. We are consciously or unconsciously programmed in a sense. Okay, that's why I say neuro-linguistic programming. So now that thing happens without involuntarily. Okay, so everything like you do the same, like you kind of like something happens and you respond to it. Okay, so oftentimes we do it involuntarily. Okay, so now you can take back the control. Okay, so you can use this anchoring, NLP anchoring, to basically voluntarily change things in your life. Okay, take back the control. Okay, so that's what anchoring is. Okay, Anybody has any question about anchoring, NLP anchoring?
So have you heard about Dynetics?
Dynetics?
Yes, sir.
No. Would you like to let us know what that is?
So it's just the anchoring word, and that the different thing you are using. I mean, I have heard it in similar things in Dynetics too. So you can
Okay.
have a little look at that, sir.
Okay, can you type that word on the chat window, please?
Sure, sir.
All right, thank you. Maybe that will, give us more information about it, but I have not heard about it. Okay. Anybody else has anything to share, maybe? They have heard about it. Okay. Again, it is for some student, it might remind them of hypnosis. Okay, but there's a distinction here. Okay, you're not trying to basically reach that trance-like state, right? All right, so let's look at the next NLP technique. It's called modeling. Okay, so basically the idea is that I'll read out like free NLP, a couple of NLP presuppositions here. So one of the presuppositions is if one person can do it, anyone can do it. We learned about that in the last class, right? And also another presupposition here is there are no incapable people, only incapable states. Okay, so let's put these as foundation and talk about modeling. Okay, so it is the process of basically breaking down a big like idea into small steps. Okay, so anyone can follow those steps. Okay, anyone can accomplish the task. All right, so modeling is basically it's like copying what somebody else has already done. All right, okay. So when we go through the example, I think it will make a lot more sense to you, and many people actually use it. Okay, to improve themselves, to basically achieve what they want out of life. Okay, so here's some reasons. Okay, so some about the modeling. Okay, so modeling you can use it to bring about positive changes in your life. Okay, so modeling is very effective. Actually, it is very it's a very like a popular coaching tool. All right, so if you go online and see, let's say, habits of successful people. Okay, you'll find like millions of views in there. All right. So what people want to like maybe like achieve is they want to follow the habits of successful people and become successful themselves. Okay, that's what is replicating or modeling. Okay, the proper word is modeling, and it is a NLP technique. All right. So basically, when you see like some big thing, it might appear big to you. Okay, even like very like challenging to you. But once you break down the big thing, okay, and once you take the like let's say you break down something into 100 steps. Okay, so you take these steps from 1 through 100. Okay, so by the time you're done taking those steps, okay, you will be very close to achieving, or you will have achieved the thing that somebody achieved. Okay, so you want to model somebody or model the process or model the steps. All right. Okay, so basically if you are good at something, okay, it could be anything. It doesn't necessarily mean that like has do it have to do it studying. Okay, maybe you're good with let's say playing guitar, and you want to learn to play or to do something. Okay, so you can use what worked while you were learning to play guitar, and use that those things in learning something else. Okay, I don't mean that it will be like one-to-one comparison, but the process itself. Okay, you can break down the process into different stages or different steps, and maybe you can replicate those steps into achieving something else. All right. Okay. Or if you are passionate about something, okay, and if you want to be passionate about something else, then see like if you can break down how you're passionate about something and into like small steps, and see if you can use that to become more passionate about something else. All right. All right. So let's say you know how you kind of like you have a successful like a you have successfully established a bakery cafe. Okay, so next you want to open an IT company. I'm kind of like comparing apples to oranges here. Okay, however, just for the example. All right, so there will be like few steps that you have taken in order to successfully run your bakery cafe. All right, so you want to replicate those steps in now successfully run some other company. Okay, I'm not saying it's the same thing. Okay, again, the process itself will be kind of different. However, you want to break down the big thing into small steps. Okay, so maybe you can replicate it to be more successful, to be successful in something else. That's what it is. Okay, so use what works. Okay, and put in use so you can achieve the same thing or similar thing into something else. All right. All right, so here are some 8. I was searching online. Okay, I found the habits of successful people. So I could only find the really like world famous people, and I kind of like I wanted to like make it more relatable to you. So I included the people who are famous in Nepal. All right. So these are some of the habits of highly successful people. All right. And by modeling, by replicating some of these habits, by copying these habits, okay, so maybe you can be successful in your life as well. So again, I'm not saying these are the only 8 things, okay. So basically by modeling these 8 habits, you will be successful. I'm not like guaranteeing that, because people are very complex. Okay, they have all these variables. Okay, beyond what is being covered here. Okay, so don't think like. However, by replicating what worked with other people, you can be successful in your own way as well. Right? So take it like that. Okay, not something like you want to be like a next Bill Gates or something like that. Okay, you have your own personality, individual things that define you. All right. However, you want to change your life for good, and by replicating some of these habits, okay, you want to be basically better. All right. So some of the let me read some of these habits. Okay, maybe you can incorporate these things in your life as well, if you have not been already been. Okay. So the first thing is get up early. Okay. So getting up early has many benefits. Okay. You have more energy for the day. Okay. You have more like hours in a day. Okay. The hours that you sleep unnecessarily is the hours that you don't live. Okay. You have 24 hours. Okay. If you, let's say, if you sleep like 9, 10 hours a day, okay, that's the extra hours that you cannot experience in life. All right. So get up early, put it into like a better use, maybe like exercise, like a yoga, meditation, reading. All right. So do these things to get more out of your life. All right. So next habit is the habit of reading. So they found when they asked the successful people, one of the common theme is they read a lot. Okay, they read a lot of books. Okay, these days you can read online as well. Okay, the more you read, the more knowledge you will have. Okay, and they also call knowledge is power. Okay, or whether it's like using the knowledge is power, but definitely the knowledge is powerful. All right. The next thing is introspection or meditation. These people actually are aware of their strength, their weaknesses, their goals, and so on. Okay, so spend maybe like a few minutes in doing meditation or introspection, which is basically we learn about introspection during the Emotional Intelligence Week. All right, basically you delve within yourself and see what areas you are kind of not good, what needs improvement, what you're good with. So maybe you can even hone your strength to become even better, or use those strengths for good, right? So spend some time each day in knowing yourself better. Okay, it kind of like I gave you example of light, right? Like a torchlight versus laser beam. The more you know yourself, the more focused you are, the effective you become. All right. Okay. The next habit is they are very health conscious. Okay. So don't spend your days lazily. All right. So be like a health conscious person. That means not only working out, okay, maybe like doing yoga, but also eating healthy as well. All right. So they do that. Another habit is spend time with like positive people. All right. That also means kind of like avoid negative people. All right. The more you associate with negative people, that energy kind of like seeps into you. All right. It's like osmosis. Right. So try to like spend in good things or in positive people who inspires you or who you want to be. If that's not possible, then maybe like spend time thinking about or in experiencing or being with people uh, who are positive. Okay. The next thing is pursue your goals. Okay. So you may want to do certain things, or you may want to like achieve something in your life. Okay. So again, like when you may have a big goals or you may have small goals. Okay. Even for big goals, maybe you can break down into small chunks. Okay. And it's like a journey. All right. So each step you take, you'll be closer to your destination. Okay, so at least take that first step in pursuing your goal. Okay, and when you start going, okay, it becomes easy for you, and you start seeing like improvements and so on. All right, so pursue your goals. Okay, so if you're kind of like having difficult time even like knowing what your personal goal in life is, maybe you can use the NLP technique called chunking. Okay, so today sit down by yourself, okay, and try to get the things out of your subconscious mind by asking different questions about what you want to do in life. Okay, maybe you want to, maybe by the end of the exercise, you will get a better perspective about yourself. All right. Okay. The next habit of highly successful people is they get enough sleep. Again, for you, it could be like 8 hours. For others, it could be like a 6, 7 hours. Okay. Uh, but know like how much sleep you need. Okay. And do that. Okay. Don't like spend too, like don't sleep like don't oversleep, and don't undersleep as well. All right. So when you undersleep, like you will not have enough energy for that day. All right. Okay. So maybe you want to improve your sleeping like a cycle, the habit, that pattern. All right. So you go to bed at the fixed at the set time. It could be, let's say, 10 p.m. Okay. You don't want to like change that. Sometime you go to bed at like 11, sometime like a 1 p.m., 1 a.m. and so on. You don't want to do that. You want to make a fixed like a time schedule. All right. So next day, so next morning, you wake up at that the same time. All right. So it's like a habit. Right. And the last one is avoid time wasters. Okay. It's like negative things. Don't spend your time in negative things. And anything, try to see if that is like worthwhile. Okay, it could be people, it could be habits, it could be things. Okay, for example, if you use your smartphone in different things, like different applications, see which applications are beneficial and which applications are time wasters. And there's like I think like 99% of the time, we normally waste time using smartphones. All right, so maybe like you could, give yourself some break in not engaging in this time wasting habits or time wasting people. Some people, they will waste your time. Okay, they will talk with you on and on. Okay, without accomplishing anything, without coming to any positive conclusion. Okay, you may want to like maybe like avoid that kind of people. Again, avoiding doesn't mean being negative. Okay, you don't want to be negative. Okay, you just want to concentrate on what is positive. Okay, that's itself is like avoiding negativity. If you concentrate, if you focus on positivity, you are kind of like a not giving attention to negative aspects. All right. So again, like I see like many students using those like TikToks and all of these things. Okay. So do some introspection. All right, with yourself. Like ask yourself question: is it like beneficial? Is it doing me any good? Okay. Maybe like you want to like like spend less time if you feel like okay, that's really taking a lot of time in my day. Okay, I could do something else. I could do more reading instead of let's say endlessly, like going from video to video and so on. All right. So again, if you use YouTube, YouTube has a lot of positive like videos in there, and there's like a whole host of like entertaining videos that kind of waste your time. You'll be like watching it, and by the end, once you're done watching it, you'll kind of ask like, what did I get? Okay, you know, like so try to like have a better focus in life, okay, and recognize what is doing good to you, what is doing bad to you, what is like taking away this very important resource. Time is a very vital resource, okay? So what is eating it, and what is giving you, making you more valuable or making you more effective? Recognize that, and you will be more successful in life, right? So again, like a disclaimer here, I'm not saying you if you follow these like 8 habits, you'll be next Bill Gates. I'm not saying that, because they have their own unique things, okay? Unique advantages and so on. But at least you will be successful in your own ways. All right? So this is modeling basically. All right, any comment from you guys? All right, so let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so the next topic is rapport. Okay, so I assume you guys have heard this word
It's a message.
numerous.
The
What was
message
that?
conversation. It's a
Hold on,
chat.
hold. Yeah, hold on just a moment. So normally, you know, when I start speaking, I just I don't have a lot of time to look at it. Okay.
It's okay.
The question is, I think like Sachin, he mentioned the word Dynetics. I'll take a look on that, what it is. Okay. And another question by Bishes is, does satisfaction count in successful footsteps? Uh, I mean, if you kind of like have a good idea, okay, if you are taking, if you are walking towards your goal, okay, initially your mind will be kind of hesitant, okay. So we are a creature of familiarity, okay. We don't want to do something that is unfamiliar to us, okay. So initially you may feel unsatisfied, okay. It's like, for example, going to the gym. You want to like have a good physique, all right. You want to have a good body, but initially, when you go there for a few days, okay, for initial few days, you may feel this body sore, and it would kind of be conflicting to your mind, that neural network that has not been established. You may have the neural network for something else, let's say playing video games. Okay, so you are kind of depriving your mind from the dopamines that you normally get from other things. Okay, so initial phase may be filled with, let's say, stress hormones, that cortisol, they call it cortisol. So at that time, you may not feel satisfaction. Okay, but going forward, definitely you can feel, you can have that satisfaction. But again, satisfaction itself is kind of subjective here. Okay, so even the more important thing would be seeing the result that you want. Okay, so when you break down a big thing into small things, and if you feel okay, you have accomplished these small steps, I think that should be a source of satisfaction for you. And if it's not like that, then at least you can recognize you're going closer to your destination, right? Okay. So when we kind of like label something as like satisfactory or not, that can be a hindrance to us in going forward. Okay, what if somebody's not satisfied but still moving forward to where he or she wants to go? All right, so don't take it like that. Take it like a being closer to where you want to go and seeing results, mini results. All right, Vishes? All right, so any other question? All right, so let's move to the topic, next topic. Okay, so the next topic is rapport. As I mentioned, I've used this word many times. Okay, so it's the sense of that connectedness with other people. Okay, so in effective communication, you need the rapport in order to make your communication more effective. Without rapport, you can't really move forward with your communication. Okay, as I mentioned before, I think I gave you example while we were talking about the 16 NLP presuppositions. Okay, so without rapport, if you go and talk with someone, okay, if you kind of like express your like thoughts and so on, that person may feel, okay, you as like kind of weird person who's kind of like why is he or she telling me all these things? Okay, so without rapport, that can happen. All right, so rapport is very important in effective communication. Okay, so let's look at 4 elements of rapport. Okay, so if you have 4 elements, then you have rapport. All right. Again, the first the element is the sense of connectedness. Okay, so that doesn't mean you need to have like a like good relationship. It's if you have it, that's good, but you can build a rapport with a person that you just met. Okay, it's the sense of connectedness. All right. Okay. The next element is mutual respect. Okay, there has to be mutual respect. It cannot be like a like it can be the relationship should not be like someone like like who is like a lord and another is like a master. I mean, a master and a slave, like in a sense. Okay, the relationship. I mean, there should be mutual respect. Okay, both giving like having like a respect for each other, right? Then there's a rapport. Another element is mutual understanding. Okay, so if you don't have understanding among the two like parties, then you don't have rapport. Okay, that's why sometimes it takes time to build rapport, to build that sense of connectedness. Okay, and some people are really good at it, especially those who are very experienced in the sales field. Okay, so they approach. It's actually again, you can take it as an NLP example. Okay, those salespeople when they first started, I assume they felt that hesitation in approaching people and so on. By repeating the same process again and again, eventually they became better with like connecting with others and being good in their sales field. Okay, so salespeople are very good with creating rapport. Okay, like connecting with other people. Okay, so again, for you, it may take some time. Okay, but again, this can be done. So when there is like mutual understanding, it helps in building a rapport. The last element, which is also important, is commonality. There has to be something common in order for two parties to basically build rapport. Okay, without anything common, it would be very difficult to have the sense of connectedness. Okay, so for example, if like for somebody who is, let's say, somebody very strange, like a person, okay, and another like a, something totally different. Okay, those two people, coming together, okay, when they meet together, it would be very difficult for them to build that rapport. There will be like so much like variables acting against them. All right, so there has to be some commonality. So I'll give you another example. Okay, so when you guys like met for the first time at Softwarica, okay, so when you basically had in your first day in the campus, okay, so you tend to gravitate towards those people who kind of looked similar to you. Maybe it has to do with your like a like physical features. Okay, for let's say boys, like talking amongst boys, like girls talking amongst girls, or it has to do with, let's say, ethnicity. Okay, so you are from a particular ethnicity and you feel more comfortable like interacting or building that rapport with another person of the same ethnicity and so on. Okay, so that's a natural thing for us. So if we have commonality, it helps us build that rapport easily. Okay, so Bal Mukunda, I think he has something to say. Okay, so he writes, some people get successful in TikTok, some don't. Does it mean they shouldn't make videos? Some people get success in studies, some of them don't. Does it mean they should leave studying? Because failure makes us think that it is not beneficial, so we should stop focusing on goals. When I use the word TikTok, okay, I mean like time wasters. All right. So I don't think there are many successful TikTokers here. All right. So most just watch videos are made by others, and they waste like hours and end. So maybe like you can like I'm not saying don't use it. Okay. So maybe you can control it. So instead of like spending like so much time, you can maybe like say, okay, I'm gonna like maybe watch like TikTok for 10 minutes, then I'm gonna focus on my study. All right. I just mean that I'm not saying there's like people who use TikToks are like failures. I'm not saying like that. All right. So understand what the time, what are you spending your time? Are you using your time effectively, or are you wasting your time? If you waste your time, okay, that's the time you're not using for yourself, for improving yourself, making yourself better. Okay, making yourself successful. That's what I mean. Okay, so recognize what are the time wasters. All right, Balmukunda, is that clear, or do I need to go through it again? Bal Mukunda? All right, so okay, so let's move forward. Okay, so let's look at there's another, we'll talk about another NLP technique. Okay, so this one is called mirroring. Okay, so mirroring basically is like copying, okay, mimicking, all right, emulating. Okay, these are some of the synonyms. So let's see how we can build rapport through mirroring. Okay. Okay, so here are some few NLP presuppositions that may be applicable for mirroring. Okay, so let me give you a brief definition of mirroring, okay, before we move forward. So if a person is doing something, okay, so let's say you are talking with somebody. So normally what happens in the in the communication is whatever that person, the person, one person is doing, we unconsciously or subconsciously, we kind of try to copy that thing. Okay, because these are the things when two parties in a communication, they are at the same wavelength. Okay, the communication becomes more effective. So that kind of translates to like a physical aspect as well. Okay, so let's say one person is standing up talking. So even though that second person may be sitting initially, that second person will stand up or the first person will sit down, okay, to make the communication more effective. Okay, so it's like a mirroring. One person did that, the next person followed, and they both are kind of like doing that. That can, when you really look at like in a micro level, you will see many similarities in like a person, in people, uh, like communicating, or when people like they are interacting. Okay, so on like one person like touches his or her hair, unconsciously you'll find the second person doing the same thing. Okay, so this is called mirroring. Okay, all right. So here's some NLP presuppositions that are used. Okay, that are kind of like that will be more evident. So the meaning of the message is the response that follows. We already went through it. Okay, you have to be an effective sender. Okay, you can't really, like you're not responsible in a sense for what other people may respond. You're responsible for like for successfully sending the message to the other person. Okay, depending on how you send it or what you send it, you'll get the respective, or the result that you get will be according to what you send. Okay, according to the message that you send. Okay, so again, the resistance during communication is a sign of lack of rapport and flexibility. We learned that last time. Okay, so if you don't have rapport to begin with, you will be like it will be like an uphill battle for you in communicating with the other person. Okay, so other person may like a shake his or her head, and you will not hear from that person next time. That person will totally disappear from your universe. All right, and another presupposition is the body is the reflection of mind. Okay, so what is going on in your mind is reflected via your body. Okay, so let's look at mirroring in more detail. Okay, so let me have some water. Okay. Okay. Okay, so here's a video. You guys can definitely watch it. Okay, to see how mirroring takes place in communication. All right, so there's a link. You guys can watch that. Okay, so mirroring can take place in different whether it's like in a voice, in your like through the use of body, okay, through the use of language and so on. So let's look at some examples here. So when it comes to voice, okay, so when two people are talking, they usually kind of like come to the same like let's say tone of voice, pace. Like if one person is speaking fast, okay, in order to during that communication, you will find that the other person is kind of like a speaking fast as well in order to catch up. Okay, so you will find that pitch also, tempo. Okay, these are some of the features of your voice. Okay, so next time when you're communicating with someone, try to change one of these attributes and see if the person would kind of like change that like unconsciously on that other person's part, but you are trying to kind of verify it. Okay, you will find that most of the time it works. Okay, so you speak fast, and the person will kind of speak fast with you. It's like walking. Okay, you're walking with someone, you walk faster. That person who is, let's say you're talking with that person will also walk faster with you. All right. Okay. So you don't want to do it very abruptly, otherwise that person will be kind of like a surprised. Okay. You want to take it slowly. Okay. All right. Next thing is the mirroring through physiology through the use of your body. Okay. So if you are touching your nose while communicating, you kind of like sometimes like you may find the other person touch his or her nose as well. Okay. You kind of give like you're blinking too much. Okay. While communicating, you'll find the other person blinking, in the same ratio as well. All right. And so on. Another is language. Okay, so the type of language you use, okay, whether you are like talking informally using all these slang words, okay, so the other person will try to do the same. Okay, will try to imitate or mimic a subconscious, again, like we're talking in the like unconscious realm here. Okay, the person, even without knowing, will be copying. Okay, you may be doing the same thing as well. All right. Okay, belief culture. Okay, when you're talking about some issue, okay, that person will then talk about the same. We will have a lot of things to say with regards to that. Okay, so all right. So next example would be interest experienced. Okay, you talk about something that you're interested in. Okay, so the topic would be converted, like a topic would go into basically the conversation would go towards that topic. Okay, you might have done that. You change the topic consciously on your part. Okay, then the other person will kind of like we'll talk about the new topic without kind of like a you know with in a, like a more like a subconscious level. Okay, all right. The breathing is also one. Okay, so maybe you can practice it. Breathe faster while you're talking. You may be able to see the same response from the other person. Okay, so these are some of the examples of the mirroring, and this can be now used to these techniques actually can help you in building a rapport with new people. Okay, so the next time, okay, so you have this knowledge now. So before that, you may have been using it unconsciously in communication. Okay, so now you have this knowledge, this information. So next time you are talking with someone, use this technique. See if you can elicit or get the result that you want. Okay, so this can be helpful. Let's say you meet someone someone very new, okay, and you want to connect with that person. Okay, so what you can do is you can use this NLP technique called mirroring in achieving that rapport, like faster than otherwise what would be possible. Okay, so if you are talking with someone, try to do what the other person is doing. Again, you don't want to make it very obvious, otherwise it will be the other person may think weird. Okay, why is this person doing the same thing as me? You want to make it very subtle. Okay, maybe not do right away. You want to do it slowly, but eventually you want to use this. You want to take the advantage of mirroring in connecting. All right, to make when people feel comfortable, okay, they open up, and consequently it becomes easy for you to connect with the other person. And mirroring is a good tool in making other people feel comfortable. Okay, so here's some guidelines for you if you want to use this mirroring in your career or in your daily life. All right, so don't make it so obvious. Otherwise, you will offend other person. You don't want to do that. Okay, take it slowly, especially if you are learning. Okay, you want to take like one step at a time. All right. Otherwise, you'll be very evident for the other person. Okay. So once you do it, once you get going and once you learn it, then it becomes easy for you. Okay. It becomes easy in connecting with other people, even new people that you meet. Okay. It'll be easy for you to connect with those people. So make gradual and subtle adjustment. Okay. So if the other person touches his or her hair, okay, subtly, like very gently or kind of slowly do that, okay? Don't like follow, don't be like a copycat in a sense. You're doing it, but you're not like making it very obvious, all right? And above all, be respectful, okay? If it appears that you're not respecting the other person, the rapport will break. You will not fulfill the four requirements of rapport building, okay? All right, the next the guideline is don't make it seem deliberate while mimicking. Again, it's kind of same thing as what I mentioned before, right? Don't you're doing it. The end goal is the same, but you're not making it very obvious for the other person. All right? Okay. So the next tip for you, next guideline is build in slight time delays. Okay? So that means if you see the other person doing something, don't do it right away. Okay? So like let there be some delay. So maybe after like 5 seconds, you do it. Okay? So that the other person doesn't feel like you are trying to, you are deliberately trying to do what he or she is doing. Okay? And for you, don't try to mirror like bad things. Okay? Normally what happens is if you try to mimic like the bad habit of other person, and when that other person sees that bad habit in you, they will be kind of like it will be kind of like obvious, or they will not like that. Okay? So other person is like, let's say, one person is unconscious, like like not like unconsciously doing something. Okay, that may not be good. You may be like communicating with the other person. Don't do that. Okay, let's say somebody is like picking his or her nose. I'm not saying it happens, but it could. Okay, so don't do that. Okay, otherwise there will be like the breakage of that rapport. Okay, it's like the point that I mentioned before about respect. All right, so try to mirror good things, not bad. Okay, because we all are kind of like aware of bad habits. We don't want that. Okay, so when other person sees you repeating or mimicking bad thing, there's like a breakage of rapport. Okay, and for you, especially if you are starting up, practice in low risk situation. So maybe practice with your household friends. Right now it's lockdown situation, so you can't really meet with your friends, okay, in person. So maybe you can practice with your sister or brother. All right, this mirroring. All right, see if it works. If it doesn't, like again, like go slow. Okay, maybe do one thing at a time. Don't try to be master right away. Okay, it may like discourage you otherwise. Okay, and another tip is keep within your own behavioral comfort zone. Okay, so make sure you are within your comfort zone while you are practicing mirroring. Okay, so when you get away from your comfort zone, there's a possibility that you will break the rapport. Okay, that you will make the other person kind of like a hesitant in continuing with the conversation or interaction. Okay. So the last tip here is build up skills matching one or two elements first. That means do one or two things initially. Okay. So when you're starting, just do one thing at a time and see if the other person would mimic that, or see if you mimicking the other person would help in basically connecting with that person effectively. All right. So the other person copying you would be like you testing if this tool works, and you copying the other person is basically you trying to connect with the other person. Okay, so you can test and you can take the advantage as well. Okay, so let's look at some of the aspects of active listening. Okay, so if you want to, let's say, establish active listening, so you're communicating with someone, and if you want to, let's say, you know, uh, engage in active listening, you can do some of these things. Okay, so these are the I guess features of or signs of active listening. Okay, so the first the feature is nodding your hair. I mean, nodding your head. Okay, so that kind of gives the clue to the speaker as well that you are paying attention to whatever he or she has to say, or he or she is saying. Okay, so nodding your head is a sign of active listening. Okay. Another sign is like again, this is through the mirroring. Okay, so oftentimes like you'll see a speaker like maybe like nodding his or her head, and you would kind of nod your head in return as well. Okay, so it's like matching that. So another is like a matching with the voice. So if you want to really connect with the speaker, what you can do is you can actively, normally it happens like on the subconscious level, but if you want to voluntarily establish this active listening with someone, then you can practice this. Okay, you can match the voice patterns. So if a speaker is speaking faster, okay, then you can in return, like when it's your time to speak, okay, so you can speak in the same like a tone, in the same pace and pitch and so on. You can emulate that to better connect with the speaker. Okay, when you do that, then you two will be in the same like a wavelength, so to speak. Okay, you two will connect, and there will be a sense of that connectedness or rapport. Okay. Another is the body posture matching. Okay. So if a speaker is like standing up, you're speaking with someone, and the other person is standing up. Okay. It will be a lot easy to connect with that person if you are also standing up. If the person has like a hands like over his or her hip, okay. If you do that, okay, that also helps to connect with the speaker. Okay. So try to match the body postures. Okay. It will kind of like make it easy for you to connect with the other person. Another is the maintaining eye contact. Okay, so if a speaker is speaking at you and like looking at you basically, but you basically look away from the speaker or look down, okay, so there will be that breakage of connection. Okay, the speaker will feel something is wrong. Okay, so you can maintain the eye contact as you talk or as you communicate with the other person. Okay. All right. So I assume you have experienced that yourself. Okay. You meet someone, you talk with a person, you're looking at the person, okay, in the eyes, but that person kind of looks everywhere but you. Okay. So you feel some uneasiness or you feel that the lack of connection between you and the other person. Okay. So try to maintain eye contact. Okay. For active listening. Another is also like in between like a conversation, what you can do is you can acknowledge what the speaker just said. It could be like a summary statement. Okay. For example, like uh, you can see on the screen here. So if let me just read that statement, that question. Okay. So if I am getting this right, you want our team to stop what we're doing and focus on the next project. Okay. So basically reiterating what the speaker said, but in summary. Okay, that also kind of affirms that you are paying attention to what the speaker is saying. Okay, so these are some of the signs of active listening, and okay, you can actually use this in the form of mirroring to basically connect with the speaker. Okay, okay. So especially if your job is to basically, if you, as part of your job, okay, if you had to deal with, let's say, new people, okay, you could be in a sales field, let's say, and you want to basically connect with anyone right away, okay, so you can practice on active listening. Okay, if people feel that you're listening to them, okay, it helps them to connect with you easily. All right. Okay. All right, so let's look at some barriers of active listening. Okay, so oftentimes you can relate to this. Okay, so you may be kind of saying, okay, I was kind of doing that, and it kind of like broke the connection between me and the other person. Okay, so let's look at some barriers here. Okay, the first barrier is the urge to speak or respond. So you're talking with the other person, and you have some thought on your mind, in your head, and you have this urge from within you. It's like killing you, so to basically speak. All right, and you're more concerned about speaking than actually listening to the other person. It happens to all of us. Okay, so that's also a barrier of listening or active listening. Another is noise. Okay, here noise is more like an external noise. Okay, so it could be like a sound, like a disturbing sound uh, from outside. Okay, so they also hamper us in connecting with the other person. Okay, the other examples are the internal noises. Okay, that could be like internal thoughts, like a clattering mind. Okay, so you have all this thoughts going on in your head. Maybe like you had a bad day, and the thoughts are like constantly playing on your mind, like autoplay, and you're basically dealing with other people, but your mind is not listening to what the other person is saying. Your mind is constantly going to whatever happened in the morning or whatever someone said. Okay, so our internal noise in our head also kind of like hampers or hinders us into like listening to other person. Okay, you might have experienced that. Another is selective hearing. Okay, you just want to like you'll be just listening to whatever you want to listen. Okay, it could be that you are interested in something. Okay, so the person may be saying different things, but you're only like a cherry picking on whatever like interests you, or whatever you feel like, listening. Okay, that's selective hearing. All right. Okay, so like during the conversation, the other person may feel, okay, you're listening to me, but actually you're not listening to what everything that the other person said. You're just listening whatever you want to listen. Okay. All right, that's also a hindrance to effective listening or active listening. Another is disagree with the speaker. So oftentimes you can relate to that. You don't like the person, okay? And whatever that person says, nothing goes into your mind. So you listen from one ear and off it goes through the other ear, all right? So oftentimes it happens. You have this prejudice against the speaker speaking to you, but nothing is going in your head, all right? So if you disagree with someone, that can happen, okay? That's why we say separate like a person from problem, okay? Problem is different, person is different, okay? The person may be giving you good advice, but because you have a problem with the person, you're not able to listen to the person. But if you separate people with problems, then maybe you can at least hear what the person is saying, all right? Okay, so that's also one hindrance. Another is disagree with a topic. Okay, so you don't really agree with the topic. Let's say, like you meet. I think this is an interesting example. Okay, so let's say you walk down a road and you meet this like a Nepali pastor. Okay, like who basically is spreading Christianity, right? So oftentimes we see that. So that person like greets you, okay, very like respectfully, and starts like telling you about his or her religion. Okay, so you don't agree with that. Let's say you are opposed. I'm not saying everyone will be. Okay, just pretend that you don't really agree with that, and whatever that person is saying, you kind of like nodding your head and all that, but you're not really into the topic. Okay, you want to get away from that. So that's an example of that. Again, like it may not be a good example, but that's an example for this one. Okay, you don't agree with topic, so it can be any topic. Okay, that you don't agree with. So anything that's said about that topic, you totally like a stonewall about that, right? Okay. So another barrier would be you try to come to the conclusion really fast. The person is talking, okay? So the other person may be talking for a few minutes, but right away you have already made up your mind, okay? So whatever the person is saying afterwards, you're not really listening to it. You've already made your mind, okay? And he or she is not able to change that, okay? That can also be a problem. So don't be too quick to come to conclusion or to judge other people, okay? All right, listen to what the other person has to say completely, and then only make up your mind. Okay, if you make up your mind in the beginning towards the beginning of your conversation, then it can be a barrier for you to listen to the other person. Okay. All right. So another is again, you're not really interested in listening. Okay, so you just pretend to understand. All right. Oftentimes it happens. If I ask one of you guys, okay, in the class, did you understand? Okay, so the students may say yes. All right. So don't. It's also again, these are the barriers. Okay. So in order to listen actively, you'll have to kind of change that or turn these around, uh, or maybe like change these things to basically create a more cohesive environment where where active listening would be, or effective listening would be possible. All right. So any of you guys like have gone through like, can you guys relate to any of these examples? Amantika? Let's hear from you. Sachin?
So can you just repeat it again, sir?
Can you relate to any of these barriers to listening personally? I mean, so last time you were like talking with someone, and one of these things happened to you from your personal perspective.
Maybe noise
Okay.
is one of the reasons,
Yeah.
and yeah, quick to come to the conclusion also sometimes.
All right.
Yeah.
So that kind of hinders you from basically listening, effectively, right?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. So anybody else, like, feel free to speak your mind, okay? So again, we're not in like a face-to-face situation in the class in our classroom. So try to make our class more interactive. All right? Okay. So let's move forward. Okay. All right. So let's look at the an example of overcoming the barriers to listening. Okay. This is just an example. Okay. So you're talking with your, let's say, classmate or coworker. Okay. And during the conversation, you realize that you're not able to make eye contact, or you're just looking everywhere but the speaker. Okay. Maybe you're looking down. Maybe you're looking away from the speaker. Okay, so you catch yourself doing that. So you sense that the rapport is breaking, or you sense the other person is also kind of like feeling the same way. Okay, so what you can do is you can now consciously try to establish eye contact with the person. Do it next time, okay, if you face this similar situation, and you could like establish the rapport again. You could realize that you are able to basically resume the rapport again. Okay. Again, the it's just an example here about eye contact. It could be other attributes of listening that we just covered before. Okay. So if that is happening, to catch yourself, change the course, and see if you get a better result. All right. Okay. All right. So listen here. You know it, it's presented as an acronym here. Okay. So listen. So look alert. All right. So when you're listening to someone, you look alert. So then look for like important ideas, okay, which is central to the message. Okay. So when you're listening to it, try to get the gist of the conversation. Okay. And also look for the signals. Okay. Uh, so it could be through the, if you're not getting it through the, through the words, try to get it through the, like body language as well as like how a person is saying. Again, we have already gone through it. Okay, a person may be saying the same thing but differently, but depending on like how person says those words. Okay, that could mean something totally different. Okay, so look for like a maybe like the voice, like a tone. Okay, so these are like paraverbal aspects. Okay, and also look for like body language, which are like non-verbal aspect. Okay, so you can get a lot out of these like signs. All right, and beyond the words, as I mentioned, words like normally is around like 5 or 6% of communication. Okay, the vast majority is your body language and your tone of voice and so on. All right. So again, like in order to listen like actively, like take part. Okay. So use the mirroring technique to help you, become like active listener. All right. So when a person sees you, affirming or confirming, like through the body language and so on, through the like a tone and all that, it will kind of really help you in connecting with the other person. Okay. There, explore. Okay, so ask questions and try to like sum up. Okay, from time to time, maybe sum up what the other person is saying. All right, and all that. Basically, giving feedback. All right. So if you're just talking and talking and talking, it's no conversation, right? It's like a one-way street. So give some feedback as well through the body language, through the words, and so on. Okay. And also, when you're listening, there has to be, the objective is basically get something, okay, from the other person. All right, so try to mentally note take, or do the note taking. Okay, so what's, again, it boils down to what's the like a central theme to the conversation. Okay, what is the other person saying? Right, try to get that. Okay. All right, so active listening is important because our attention span is very, like it's very less, okay, small, and it's been decreasing faster than you would imagine. Okay, so I think this study was done a few years ago, where they found that our attention span is around 8.25 seconds. Okay, so this is like the attention span of an insect, basically. And in the previous class, we saw that our attention span has actually decreased than the attention span of a dolphin, right? Okay. So again, we have to be mindful about that. So through active listening, we can actually increase our attention span. Okay, so that's the average attention span. So for, if you incorporate like active listening, you can definitely improve on that. All right, another is we don't remember everything we hear. Okay, so you're listening to me, and after, let's say, after you're done with the class, it'll be kind of like if somebody asks you, what do you just learn? Many people, many students would have difficult time, like a you know uh, saying everything that they heard. Okay, because our short-term memory is also limited. Okay, however, if we pay attention, okay, if we practice active listening, then that also helps us in retaining more information from what the other person just said. Okay, so active listening is very important in that respect. Okay. All right, so we've come towards the towards the end of the course. I mean, end of this topic. Okay, NLP. So a few final tips here. Okay, so if you want to be again successful, I mentioned it's more subjective. Okay, successful can mean different to different people. So generally, for if you want to be successful in life, okay. So here's some few tips here with regards to NLP. Okay, so take interest in other people. Okay, see, so if you take interest in other people will also take interest in you. Okay, so if you're someone who, let's say, don't talk with other students and kind of stays at the back of the class, okay, chances are you don't have many friends in the class. Okay, others may say hi, hello to you, maybe, but you don't have that connection with many students. Okay, however, if you have many friends, that means you have more like basically if you take interest in others, it will kind of like help you connecting with others. Okay, consequently, you will have many more like friends. Okay, your network will be bigger. Okay, when your network is bigger, you have more options, you have more resources. All right, which is a good thing. And in one of the NLP presuppositions, we learn that people who have more options, they succeed. All right, they become successful. So the beginning would be the beginning thing would be kind of like taking interest in others. In order to expand your network, personal network, okay, you need to first take effort, okay, take initiative in reaching out to others. Okay, so let your energy flow outside rather than like a energy flowing within you. Try to express it outside. So that also helps reaching to others. All right. So that's basically, I think, what I have you guys for this course. I mean, for this topic. Okay, so it's time if you have any question with regards to this topic, NLP.